In a shameful spectacle sure to rock the very foundations of the British monarchy, Prince Harry has been rendered an absolute blubbering mess after video emerged showing his wife Meghan Markle stealing a priceless beaded necklace from a Nigerian dignitary during the couple's recent tour of Africa. The explosive footage, which captured the Duchess of Sussex swiping the jewel-encrusted cultural artifact right off the stunned elder's neck, quickly went viral across the globe, leaving the prince beside himself with embarrassment and anguish. Words can hardly describe the sheer mortification and heartbreak consuming Prince Harry at the moment, divulged a high-level insider with unparalleled access to the damaged Duke. To witness his beloved wife so brazenly flouting diplomatic decorum and basic decency has basically shattered what remains of his confidence in her judgment and behavior. He hasn't stopped sobbing since this despicable episode unfolded. According to the source, the first ominous signs of trouble during the Africa trip materialized during an official state visit to the ancient Yoruba kingdom of Lagos on October 12. It was there that the Duke and Duchess were presented with a variety of ceremonial cultural items as customary gifts, including the stunning necklace crafted over centuries by indigenous jewelers. Adorned with thousands of precious stones and symbolic beads, the heirloom was meant to be received and admired for its beauty and craftsmanship, not pilfered. However, as the shocking video clearly shows, Meghan seemingly couldn't resist the urge to try on the mammoth piece while it was being modeled firsthand by an elderly Yoruba king's council. The brazen act of self-indulgence immediately prompted howls from the gathered Nigerian dignitaries before the audacious Duchess went one unthinkable step further, unlocking the clasp and outright removing the necklace from the elder's neck before thrusting it over her own head in a stunning breach of protocol. You could feel tensions rising like a brushfire as everyone watched her practically wrestle this ancient treasure from a bewildered old man's neck, recounted a Commonwealth Pool reporter witness. Obviously, it was meant as a cultural demonstration piece only, not meant to be worn, especially not in such a brazen act of disrespect and theft. The shell-shocked source described the ensuing scene as absolute bedlam, with horrified Nigerian officials rushing the state and angrily shouting in their native tongue at Meghan to immediately return the sacred artifact she'd just stolen right in front of their eyes. Harry, meanwhile, was reported to have devolved into a stammering, apologetic mess, before hastily intervening to forcibly remove the purloined jewels from his wife's defiant clutches. Harry was just ashen and humiliated beyond words as he finally pried that very heavy necklace off her with trembling hands, the insider continued. At one point, he turned to their staff with tears in his eyes and whimpered, "What the F*** have you allowed her to do?" He looked utterly haunted. The spectacle soon erupted into a full-scale diplomatic crisis, with one Nigerian minister threatening to have the renegade Duchess arrested on the spot for theft if the heirloom was not returned intact immediately. It took the personal intervention of the British High Commissioner and his staff to finally defuse tensions, issue a humbled pro forma apology, and secure the couple's exit from Nigeria. At least 2 independent news cameras broadcasting from the scene captured portions of the shocking jewelry heist, one providing a grainy yet unmistakable shot of a remorseless Meghan sporting the distinctive necklace moments after ripping it from the elder's neck. Within hours, the damning clips began flooding social media and news broadcasts worldwide, igniting a frenzied, full-scale public relations firestorm for the royal family and the Sussexes in particular. The last time we've seen such a complete dereliction of common sense and self-discipline from a senior royal was way back in the go-go 1980s amidst all those scandals surrounding bad behavior and palace purges, read royalist expert Richard Fitzwilliams. Even by Meghan's standards of impropriety, this constitutes an entirely new stratosphere of narcissism. What was she thinking? Or did she not care at all? Sadly, most insiders concede the increasingly rogue Duchess of Sussex likely cared little for the fallout or global outrage, so consumed was she by her own fleeting self-indulgences over the gravity of her station and the priceless cultural property she'd just defiled. Instead, it was a disintegrating Prince Harry left picking up the pieces of the shambolic tour both abroad and at home amid a swirling tsunami of public backlash. As soon as those initial videos hit the internet, his royal staff urgently relayed the situation and Harry immediately unraveled, the insider disclosed of the increasingly tortured Duke's downfall. For lack of a better description, he suffered an absolute emotional and psychological meltdown of epic proportions. The international embarrassment was just far too humiliating for him to process. Per the source, upon the couple's return to England, the Duke is said to have confined himself to quarters at Frogmore Cottage, steadfastly refusing to take calls or visits from anyone, including his own family, as he struggles with acute anxiety attacks and bouts of nearly crippling depression. Only his wife and a team of counselors have been granted regular access, though even Meghan's presence does little to soothe his searing anguish over the entire debacle. Harry has been overheard muttering things like, "This has ruined my life and any chance at happiness" during brief interactions with household staffers, the insider shared gravely. He spends most days and nights curled up in an anguished ball between cries of despair. Everyone fears he's finally reached an unrecoverable rock bottom without any clear path back to normalcy. The Duke's former military colleagues have also expressed shock over his deteriorating condition, along with equal outrage at the sequence of events that humiliated the once vaunted soldier prince. Several senior forces figures have openly criticized Meghan and called for her to make a public apology, insisting her selfish act spit directly in the face of indigenous customs she claimed to respect so profoundly. "As a former military wife myself, I'm disgusted at the entitlement and willful disregard for other people's treasures Ms. Markle displayed with this stunt," huffed Sally Muttaman, wife of British Army Colonel Julian Muttaman. "She has managed to disgrace her husband and the very family institution she once dreamed of joining, and for what? A foolish magpie impulse to try on some trinket she had no right possessing?" Harry's old mates from the household cavalry have been equally withering in their assessments, both toward Meghan's alleged self-absorption and their friend's own spiral into a full psychological tailspin. "We hardly recognize the bloke we used to follow into combat nowadays. Some bird has utterly broken his spirit and erased any trace of the resolute troop leader he once was," one comrade in arms told the Daily Mail on condition of anonymity. "He's just not the same man anymore." Worse still, the troubling observation could not come at a worse time for the 35-year-old Duke, with recent revelations that Harry and Meghan had indeed already inked a lucrative production deal with Netflix worth an estimated $100 million to tell their side of the story and empower diverse voices through inspirational stories. How the jewel theft and Harry's ensuing psychological implosion impacts that pact remains to be seen. Suffice it to say, there will have to be long, hard discussions about potentially delaying or even shelving those Netflix plans in wake of this catastrophic PR tornado, proclaimed public relations expert Leda Citroen. The utter fiasco over in Nigeria has neutralized whatever public goodwill and sympathy the Duke and Duchess plan to recapture with this upcoming streamer outing. Citroen added, "Just try envisioning their first series featuring a soundbite from Harry having a PTSD-induced hysteria attack or Meghan going off on one of her patented self-victimization diatribes about colonialism or something. The sheer lack of self-awareness and horrific optics involved would turn the entire original intent of that deal into one giant punchline for critics." For their part, official spokespeople for both Buckingham Palace and the Sussexes camp have flatly declined to issue any sort of